Graduates, you're behind me, but I'm talking out here. So I admire you. We all admire you, and we are surrounding you with our admiration. You know, what Martin Luther King says about church could well be said about this graduation ceremony. It's not the place you come to, but it's the place you go from. And you graduates, with all our admiration, will go from here, and with your education, you're going to stand in a particular place. You're going to stand with those who struggle and those whose dignity has been denied. You're going to stand at the margins so that they get erased. You're going to imagine a circle of compassion, and then you're going to imagine nobody standing outside that circle. Your education has this purpose, to stand with those whose burdens are more than they can bear. You're going to go from this place and stand with the demonized so that the demonizing will stop. And you will stand with the disposable so that the day will come when we stop throwing people away. And there will be this certainty that your education has never been a waste of time, even if people have said this to you. The prophet Jeremiah writes, "For in this place of which you say it is a waste, there will be heard again the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voices of those who sing." You're going to go from this graduation, and other voices will be heard because of your prophetic stance and your admirable education. So for 36 years, Homeboy Industries, not far from here, has an open door to help people reimagine their lives. And people come barricaded behind a wall of shame and disgrace, and the only thing that can scale that wall is tenderness, and you will go from this place to be tender. There was a homie I knew many years ago, a guy named Danny, who was a little chaparrito, and I met him when he was 13 years old. He made a solemn vow. He said, "I will never step foot in Homeboy Industries." And so I always knew him in the streets, and I knew him at juvenile hall. And whenever I'd see him in this alley where his homies kicked it, he would always make sure that I knew that he had a cohete tucked into the front of his pants. And then they say it takes what it takes. Sometimes it's the birth of a son, the death of a friend, a long stretch in prison. For Danny, he left a prison after 2 years only, and his mother had pancreatic cancer, 6 months to live. And he took care of her with great tenderness and love, even though she had effectively tortured him as he was growing up. I watched him with this gentle and amazing tenderness. A week later, she died, and a week after that, he stepped into Homeboy Industries for the first time. I watched him laugh and work side by side with guys I knew he used to shoot at. I watched him get his high school diploma. And after some months with us, he came into my office and he said, "What happened to me yesterday has never happened to me in my whole life." And he said that after work at 5, he went on the Gold Line right across the street from us, the Chinatown stop, heading east. And he said it was a packed train, but he got a seat. And standing right in front of him, hanging onto a pole, he said was a medio pedo guy, a guy who was a little bit drunk. He had tattoos on his hands, so he knew he was a homie, but he didn't know him. He was an older guy. And Danny was wearing a sweatshirt that said, "Homeboy Industries, jobs, not jails." And the guy who was a little bit drunk saw Danny's sweatshirt, and he said, "Do you work there?" And Danny said, "Yeah." And the guy says, "Is it any good?" And Danny said, "It's helped me. In fact, I don't think I'm going to go back to prison because of this place." Then he stood up and he had a pen and a piece of paper and he started to write the address of Homeboy Industries. And he said to me as he's telling the story, I couldn't believe I knew the address by heart. And he hands it to the guy, and the guy studies it, and he says, you come see us. We'll help you. And the guy felt like he had been seen, and he said to Danny, thank you. And the train stopped, and he got off, and Danny sat down. And now he returns to that earlier refrain. What happened to me yesterday has never happened to me in my life. Everyone on the train was staring at me. Everyone on the train was nodding at me. Everyone on the train was smiling at me. And now he can barely speak. And for the first time in my life, I felt admired. Graduates, I know this won't be the first time in your life that you felt admired, but know of the depth of our admiration. Because this graduation is not the place you've come to, it's the place you will go from, to imagine a circle of compassion, and then imagine nobody standing outside that circle. And hold your heads high, even if somebody accuses you of wasting your time. For in this place of which you say it is a waste, there will be heard again the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voices of those who sing. May God bless you, class of 2024.